Clemson wide receiver Hunter Renfrow 13 is upended by Syracuse defensive back Evan Foster 14 and defensive back Jordan Martin 2 during the first half of an NCAA college football game, Friday, October 13, 2017, in Syracuse, New York. Adrian Krause, Associated Press. Syracuse, New York. Eric Dungey threw for 278 yards and 3 touchdowns. Cole Murphy kicked a tie-breaking field goal in the fourth quarter, and Syracuse stunned number 2 Clemson 2,724 on Friday night to put a damper on the Tigers' chances to repeat as national champions. Clemson 61-41. Atlantic Coast Conference had won 12 consecutive games on the opponent's home field, the longest streak in Clemson history and tied for the second longest active streak in the nation. Clemson also had won 11 consecutive games overall, the longest active winning streak in the nation, and 12 straight away from home against ACC teams. Clemson lost its last road game of 2014 at Georgia Tech. The Orange 43-21 against the previous year's national champion, also beating Penn State in 1987 and Michigan in 1998. The Tigers took a big blow when quarterback Bryant suffered a concussion in the final minute of the first half. He was knocked down hard by defensive tackle Chris Slayton and lay on the turf for a couple of minutes before being helped to the locker room. Slowed after spraining his left ankle last week in the Tigers' victory over Wake Forest, Bryant passed for 116 yards and ran for -8 yards. Bryant, who watched the second half from the sideline, entered the game averaging 277 yards of total offense but noticeably favored an injured ankle as Syracuse gained a surprising 17-14 halftime lead. Zarek Cooper replaced Bryant to start the second half and guided the Tigers to a tying field goal. The Tigers tried a trick play with time winding down, but Will Spears threw an incompletion on a fake punt. Dungey hit Dante Strickland for a 23-yard score to open the game and also hit Irvin Phillips for 66 yards in the first quarter and Steve Ishmael for 30 in the third to break a 17-17 tie. Syracuse used big plays to stun the Tigers, hitting 6 of 20 yards or more as the Orange outgained Clemson 440,317. And the Orange defense limited the Tigers to 2 of 11 on third down, none more critical than Cooper's overthrow on third down before the fake. The Orange responded quickly as the Carrier Dome crowd rocked the building with raucous cheers of "Let's go Orange." Dungey raced 45 yards down the left side and hit Ishmael on the next play for a 30-yard scoring pass. Not to be outdone, the Tigers scored in 56 seconds on Travis Etienne's 52-yard run to tie it at 24. The Orange defense took a page out of Clemson's playbook. The Tigers were among just 3 teams in the nation averaging at least 230 yards rushing and 230 yards passing. Ohio State and Oregon are the others. The Tigers managed just 39 yards rushing in the first half and 113 total. The Tigers scored in just 67 seconds on their first possession, with Tavian Feaster capping a 3-play drive with a 37-yard run untouched up the middle of the Orange defense. But the Orange defense arose to the occasion from that point on. In Clemson's first 6 games, no team had scored more than 7 points against the Tigers through 3 periods. Opponents were averaging 4.3 points, 9.7 first downs, 71 yards rushing, 105 passing yards and 176 yards in total offense through 3 quarters. Syracuse had 8 first downs and 152 yards in the first quarter alone, 100 through the air, and outgained the Tigers 270,155 in the first half. The Clemson defense finally asserted itself midway through the second quarter, forcing a fumble by Strickland that Tanner Muse scooped up and raced 63 yards untouched down the right side to tie it at 14-14. The takeaway: Clemson, if the Tigers hope to keep in the hunt for the playoffs, either Cooper or freshman Hunter Johnson will have to assume the loaded quarterback if Bryant has to sit. Clemson also needs to find some consistency in the kicking game. Alex Spence missed a 35-yard field goal in the first quarter, and badly, as his line drive kick was way wide left. Spence made a 30-yard field goal to tie the game midway through the third quarter but missed again in the final minute of the period from 38. He is 2 of 6 since taking over for injured Greg Hugel. Syracuse: the Orange once again proved that they can play with the big boys. Syracuse upset number 17 Virginia Tech last October. Dungey needs to stay healthy, though. He had to sit out a play in the second quarter after a hard hit near the goal line, and the Orange had to settle for a 22-yard field goal by Murphy. Escape artists: Syracuse was twice pinned inside its own 10 by punts in the first half. The Orange escaped the first time when Christian Wilkins was called for roughing the passer on a third down play, and Dungey rescued them the second with consecutive completions of 20 yards to tight end Ravian Pierce and 15 yards to Jamal Custis. Up next, Clemson. The Tigers have a bye before facing Georgia Tech at home. Syracuse. The Orange travel to face number 11 Miami, _____ more AP College Football www.collegefootball.app.org and https twitter.com/app_top 25 Copyright 2017 The Associated Press. All rights reserved. This material may not be published, broadcast, rewritten or redistributed.